Caitlin Clark has landed a huge win against the WNBA. You got Caitlin Clark dealing with the front office. A lot of people want to talk about is Caitlin Clark agent. See, Caitlin Clark agent Aaron Kane, right?
How can one person in a single season generate $36 million for a city's economy and be responsible for over a quarter of an entire league's economic activity, all while being paid a salary of just $78,000? It sounds impossible. It sounds like an injustice. But for the WNBA's biggest star, it's the cold, hard reality.
She's one of the premier agents in the WNBA. I feel like Caitlin Clark should most definitely sign with Clutch Sports because they're the biggest sports agency company in the world. Protect their players, make sure their players don't go through any scandals when it comes to referees, when it comes to the disrespect from players and the league.
This single mind-bending paradox, a $36 million asset paid less than a first-year accountant, has done more than just spark arguments. It has triggered a secret war for control of the entire league, pulling in the most powerful entities on Earth and culminating in a covert $1 billion revenge plot executed by Wall Street. While fans were focused on the court, a much bigger game was being played in the boardrooms.
Because Excel was just bought by somebody Caitlin Clark already have a relationship with. We're talking about a premier company that damn near runs the economy of the United States. Yes, Goldman Sachs has purchased XL company, sports agency, bro. We're talking Goldman Sachs, baby.
In September 2025, the WNBA front office announced what looked like a massive victory, a huge multi-year partnership with the Wall Street giant, State Street Investment Management. This isn't some small-time sponsor. State Street is an old money titan, a firm with over $5 trillion in assets under management. They weren't just buying ad space, they were buying into the league, becoming the official investment management and ETF partner. This deal was comprehensive. State Street became the title sponsor for the entire WNBA preseason and the prestigious Coach of the Year award. But they also became the presenting partner for a brand new content series called Year One, a show specifically designed to chronicle the league's rookie players. This public move was Wall Street's official stamp of approval. State Street managing $5 trillion doesn't make gambles, they make calculated long-term investments. By sponsoring Year One, they were publicly buying into the Caitlin Clark effect and the growth story she represented. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert praised State Street as an incredibly innovative leader, and the league celebrated its status as the fastest-growing brand in 2024. This partnership was part of a larger, official WNBA Changemaker collective, placing State Street alongside other corporate giants like Google, Nike, Deloitte, and AT&T. On the surface, it looked like the league and its new financial backers were in perfect harmony, ready to rocket to the moon. But as the ink was drying on that $5 trillion partnership, a war was breaking out on the court. This war threatened to destroy the very asset that Wall Street was betting on. While the front office celebrated, its biggest star was being, as one Washington Post article bluntly put it, hammered. The league was quickly developing a reputation as a kickboxing league, where chronically lousy second-rate officiating was leading to what the paper called an uglification of the game. This wasn't just tough defense or a welcome to the league moment. It was a pattern of excessive, dangerous, non-basketball plays, and the most infamous incident was seen around the world. In a game against the Chicago Sky, Kennedy Carter delivered a blindsided hip check, sending Clark to the floor. What was the call on the floor? A simple, common foul. It was only after a massive public outcry and media explosion that the league office, hours later, sheepishly upgraded the foul to a flagrant 1 violation. The problem became so bad, so undeniable, that the WNBA's own broadcast partners started calling out the referees on live television. During one game, ESPN's Rebecca Lobo, a WNBA icon and Hall of Famer, became audibly aggravated as Clark was repeatedly grabbed, held, and shoved with no whistle. A replay showed Clark being mauled, and Lobo couldn't stay silent. There's a grab, there's a hold. Every single one of them. That's a foul, that's a foul. One viral YouTube clip of the incident was titled, "ESPN calls out dirty referees on live TV." The physicality itself wasn't the crisis. The inaction from the league was. The WNBA's ingrained let-them-play philosophy was now a direct threat to its new commercial momentum. As the Washington Post warned, the surest way to kill the league's popularity is to put its star players in ice packs and traction. The fans were furious. The media was in an uproar. The league's own broadcasters were calling it out. Everyone was asking the league to protect its main asset. All eyes turned to WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Her response would expose the entire rotting core of the conflict. When asked publicly about Clark being targeted, Engelbert dismissed it with a wave of corporate speak, saying, "I think everybody's watching Caitlin, so they're focused only on Caitlin, but when you look across other games, it's a physical game." It was a complete non-answer, a denial of the very problem her broadcast partners were screaming about on air. But what she allegedly said in private was 1,000 times worse, and it came from an unimpeachable source. Nafisa Collier, a WNBA superstar, and more importantly, a vice president of the WNBA Players Association, delivered a prepared statement at her end-of-season interview. Collier claimed she had privately challenged Engelbert on the league's embarrassingly low rookie pay scale. According to Collier, Engelbert's response was a stunner. Caitlin should be grateful she made $16 million off the court, because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. Grateful. The commissioner scrambled, issuing a flat denial that she ever made the comments. But the damage was done. And when Caitlin Clark herself was asked about the bombshell allegation, she didn't defend her boss. She defended her union rep. Clark told the media, "I have great respect for Phoenix. She made a lot of very valid points." In a final, telling twist, Clark also confirmed that Engelbert had not personally contacted her after the allegation went public. This wasn't just a disagreement. It was proof of a fatal misunderstanding of value. Engelbert believes the WNBA is the platform that gives Clark value. But the entire market, from Wall Street to ESPN, can see the truth. Caitlin Clark is the platform giving the WNBA its new explosive value. The league's leadership was at war with its own star, telling her to be grateful for a platform she was single-handedly rebuilding. Grateful. It's a shocking word to use, and it becomes infinitely more insulting when you see the actual numbers in the contract the league forced Caitlin Clark to sign. Let's look at the platform the WNBA provides. For the 2025 season, Caitlin Clark's salary is $78,066. This isn't the league being uniquely cheap just to her. This is the system being fundamentally broken. The WNBA's collective bargaining agreement, CBA, which was signed back in 2020, locks all rookies into this non-negotiable pay scale. This system is so warped that even the highest-paid veteran in the entire league, a player on a supermax contract, only makes around $249,000 a year. Now let's visualize this absurdity. In one column you have her WNBA salary, $78,066. In the other column you have her economic impact. An economist report cited by ESPN calculated that in her first year alone, her economic impact on just the city of Indianapolis was $36 million. The same report estimated she was responsible for 27% of the entire league's economic activity in 2024. This isn't just low pay, this is systemic exploitation. The league is profiting from an outdated CBA that allows it to capture 99.8% of the value a player like Clark generates, all while the commissioner tells her to be grateful for the scraps she earns on her own. This $78,000 figure isn't just an insult to Clark, it's the proof that the entire financial model of the league is broken, and it's the central reason the WNBPA has already opted out of the current deal, setting the stage for an all-out war. This broken system is the problem. The players' union is angry, the commissioner is in denial, but Caitlin Clark's agent, she isn't just planning to fix the system, she's threatening to replace it. Enter Erin Kane, the vice president of women's sports at XL Sports Management. She is Caitlin Clark's agent, and in a stunning public move in February 2025, she went on ESPN and drew her line in the sand. She wasn't just there to complain, she was there to issue a threat. First, Kane was asked if Clark will ever be paid what she's truly worth by the WNBA. Her answer was a bombshell that invalidated the entire league structure. "I don't think that's possible." This wasn't a negotiating tactic. It was a declaration that the entire system is incapable of handling her client. But she didn't stop there. She dropped a threat that shook the foundation of professional basketball, a nuclear option that no one saw coming. Kane told ESPN, "I think we're ready for a spin-off." Her reasoning was a direct shot at the parent company. "I just think that the NBA is incentivized to make decisions that are good for the NBA, and those are not always aligned with what's good for the WNBA." This was a declaration of secession. But here is the most brilliant, covert part of the plan. Remember Nafisa Collier, the WNBA vice president who made the grateful allegation? Erin Kane is also her agent. This is not a coincidence. This is a strategy. Kane has one client, Collier, attacking the league's leadership from within the union, while she, the agent, attacks the league's entire financial structure from the outside. It's a brilliant, coordinated pincer move. At the time, threatening to spin off from the NBA sounded like a bluff, but that was before Wall Street made its real move. This is the story no one is connecting. This is the $1 billion shadow deal. While State Street was making its very public deal to sponsor the league, another Wall Street titan was making a secret deal. In October 2025, reports exploded that Goldman Sachs was in advanced discussions to buy a controlling stake in XL Sports Management. That's right, Aaron Cain's agency. The agency that represents Tiger Woods, Nikola Jokic, and Caitlin Clark. The price tag was staggering, nearly $1 billion. The reports were explicit about why. The valuation reflected the rising investor appetite for athlete representation businesses. This boom was directly linked to the NCAA's 2021 NIL rule change, which provided another revenue source, a rule that Clark had used to become a millionaire before she ever joined the WNBA. But this wasn't Goldman Sachs' first time dealing with Clark. This was the culmination of a long-standing partnership. Back in March 2023, while she was still in college, Caitlin Clark was the star of a national NIL advertisement for Goldman Sachs. She was the face of their 10,000 Small Businesses Voices program. Goldman Sachs knew exactly who she was and the value she could drive long before they bought her agency. This is the shadow takeover. State Street made a safe sponsorship deal with the institution. Goldman Sachs made an aggressive 1B acquisition of the insurgent. They are not betting on the league, they are betting on the talent that is at war with the league. They just gave the agent who threatened to spin off the WNBA a $1 billion war chest to go do it. This one deal changes everything. It reframes the entire conflict. This isn't a sports story anymore. It's a Wall Street proxy war. And that $1 billion valuation, that is Caitlin Clark's revenge. Let's put all the pieces on the board. The WNBA, led by a commissioner who thinks her star should be grateful, publicly values that star at $78,000. That star's agent, Aaron Cain, says the system is broken and threatens to spin off the league. The league, trapped in the past, likely sees this as an empty threat from a mere agent. And then, Goldman Sachs steps in and places a $1 billion valuation on that exact agent and her agency. The $1 billion valuation is the revenge. It is the market's definitive, undeniable, and public response to the league's $78,000 insult. It's Wall Street looking at Commissioner Engelbert's grateful comment and laughing. This deal creates a terrifying proxy war. In one corner, you have State Street, which has invested in the league's old guard and the institution. In the other, you have Goldman Sachs, which has acquired the talent and the insurgent. State Street is betting the institution can grow. Goldman Sachs is betting the talent can force the institution to change and that they will profit massively from that disruption. Goldman Sachs did not spend $1 billion to lose a negotiation. When Aaron Cain walks into the upcoming CBA negotiations, she isn't just an agent anymore. She is a billion-dollar asset of Goldman Sachs. Her spin-off threat is no longer an empty threat. It's a business plan. The WNBA is now trapped. The upcoming CBA negotiation has been called the most important in women's sports history, and the league's old guard is completely surrounded. Internally, its own player union vice presidents are publicly calling league leadership the worst in the world. Externally, new high-paying leagues are emerging to poach their talent. Unrivaled, a league co-founded by those same WNBA VPs, is already a success, and a new Project B is reportedly offering stars $2 million salaries, a far cry from $78,000. And now, the league's biggest star, Caitlin Clark, is represented by an agent who is, for all intents and purposes, an executive of Goldman Sachs, armed with a $1 billion valuation. Caitlin Clark's $1 billion revenge isn't just about her. The league's old guard targeted her, insulted her, and systemically underpaid her. In doing so, they forced her to leverage her value in the only place that truly matters, the open market. That market, Wall Street, responded with a $1 billion valuation. And that is the weapon her agent will use to break the old system, not just for Caitlin Clark, but for everyone. What happens when a league's most valuable asset is also its single greatest threat?